not a nice business. I guess that's the concept. If snakes are fast, but alligators are, but we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison, how to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%.
Oh, 1%, maybe roughly, approximately 1%, perhaps. President Trump headed down to Alligator, Alcatraz today, bringing a Louisville slugger. Might have to take out some sacred reptiles while he's down there. Who knew they were sacred? My people call it maize. I love that maize. Maize. Well, a very good Tuesday to you, and welcome back once again. Even today, we can be reached at 888-630-9625. 888-630-9625. Today is July 1st. That's right, 7-1. Yesterday was 6:30. Today, 7, well, that's the date. The world provides us with a great many moving parts. And, in fact, President Trump is a number of moving parts all by himself, and he's a busy man. He is headed to Florida today to go to the outpost that has already been built in record government time to house thousands, perhaps 5,000 illegal alien criminals who the Democrats want to date, or they want their daughters to date, because the Democrats have a lot of issues. Boy, do they have a lot of issues. If you're a Democrat, I don't think you can explain yourself, can you? You can't explain any of this stuff. What was it? Did you see the Democrats let an Egyptian man into the country who supports the Muslim Brotherhood, which has been banned in Egypt. And the Egyptian man went to Boulder, Colorado, set a bunch of people on fire with a homemade flamethrower and Molotov cocktails, and he firebombed an 88-year-old Holocaust survivor and a woman 82 years old who died yesterday from his firebombing. And the news media, they just stopped covering this. It doesn't serve the interests of the Democratic Party because, once again, the blood is on their hands, and they're the Democratic Party. They're the party of, you know who they are. They're not the good guys. So we've got that, but that's not in the news. I will share with you that update. We've got a funny headline. Well, it's a little bit funny headline today. Bush, Obama, and singer Bono, the singer Bono, fault Trump's gutting of USAID. Hey, are we the only country on the planet, or are we just the only one that's $36 trillion in debt? Have we crossed the $37 trillion debt marker yet? But we're supposed to pay for everything. And you got AIDS, you're in Africa. Oh, the United States, they've got a family in Kansas that wants to work all year to pay your way through the world. Maybe that communist in New York, Mamdani, maybe he lived in South Africa for a while when he was a kid. Maybe he should be in charge of funding all that with New York City taxpayer dollars when he becomes the mayor, the king of New York, and lives in Gracie Mansion and spreading the word of communism and jihad, genocidal jihad. The Democrats, it's the fundamental transformation of America. Barack Obama never said the fundamental transformation meant the country was going to get better, just that it would be fundamentally transformed. And he, fairness to him, also admonished us that we should teach our children to learn Spanish because they're going to see to it that this is not an English-speaking country for a long, long time. And soon they're going to be, dead bodies hanging upside down from bridges when you drive under them in big cities because the Democrats they're fundamentally transforming America, aren't they? Yeah, but Bush, Obama, and Bono. I have kind of a funny Bono story. I met Bono one time at a conference in Washington, D.C., and I was being hosted by CNN, and they invited Bono. And then they invited then-Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld. And I was assigned to the Pentagon at that time, and Secretary of Defense was going to a CNN event. So I kind of went along with him to be his Sherpa. And we got there, and Bono latched on to Donald Rumsfeld. and chased him, saw him across the room and chased after him and was yelling about Africa and how we have to spend more of our money in Africa. And because Bono really cared, I think Bono's got more money than the Defense Department at this point. Maybe not that much, but he's got a lot. And chasing Rumsfeld, and I was riding an escalator. It was a hotel downtown D.C., riding an escalator up with Donald Rumsfeld, then Secretary of Defense, and his press spokesperson. And Bono jumped on the escalator with us and rode all the way up. And he looked like Bono, and he had blue glasses on and a stupid shirt and funny shoes. And he had he rode the escalator up with Rumsfeld. And I was with Rumsfeld, and we got to the top, and Bono just prattled the whole time about how the United States has to spend more money in Africa, and he knew where the money needed to go, and he was very, very important. And then Bono at the top of the escalator started to peel off to the left, naturally, and I'm peeling off to the right with Donald Rumsfeld. And Rumsfeld turned around and said, "Who was that?" And I laughed and said, "It's not important." And I still, they had these credentials hang around your neck with a lanyard, and they had the Bono credential there for Bono, but he's Bono, so he didn't wear it, and because everybody knows who he is because he's Bono, and he doesn't have to wear any lanyard with his name on it. Don't be ridiculous. And I thought it was pretty funny that it was sitting on the table, and it was a CNN event, so I grabbed the lanyard with the credential on it that said Bono on it, and I wore it around at the conference for the rest of the day. I think I still have it at home somewhere. Not sure if I could come up with it in short order, but I think I still have it at home. But now, George W. Bush and Barack Hussein Obama, he did so much good in the world, didn't he? That it has to be undone. It's going to take years to undo all the damage the good that Barack Hussein Obama did. He did so much good, it's hard to even count all the good things that he did. But Bush, Obama, and Bono fault Trump's gutting of USAID. And that is, I couldn't help. I was scratching my head this morning. I was like, where's the European Union? Don't they have some kind of a union? Isn't that what that U stands for? Maybe they should take over for us. We've been doing all the heavy lifting since 1942. Maybe you guys. What isn't there an organization called the United Nations that we fund all over the place? And but still, we get the check every time the kids get up from the dinner table. We get the check again. And, hey, Dad, pay the bill. And Dad's saying, hey, I'm $36 trillion in debt. Maybe you should get a job at a drive-through somewhere. Even Donald Trump worked at a drive-through for a little while. So we got that. And, yeah, Bono, he really cares. And Barack Obama, he really cares, too. He was president for 8 years for the maximum. And what did he do again? Did he make anything better? He used the military to bomb and attack 8 countries around the world. But never mind that. Just amazing stuff. Now, there is good news in Washington, D.C. Not only is President Trump flying down to Alligator, Alcatraz in Florida today for a lot of fun and to whip out the Louisville Slugger to bash some brains out of big dinosaur-like reptiles called alligators that are allowed to roam free in Florida. You know, if you had alligators in your neighborhood, would you be okay with the kids are out playing and there are dinosaurs running around the neighborhood with giant sharp teeth? They have brains the size of golf balls, but they're 14 feet long, and they could chomp your kid and drag him into a pond somewhere. But we let dinosaurs run free. I guess, I don't know, I blame Democrats. I assume that it's probably Democrats' fault. So we got that. But in the meantime here, President Trump going down there to do some Alligator Alcatraz stuff. Democrats very upset that we have any facilities where illegal alien gangsters might be incarcerated, because the Democrats want them chasing your daughter down a highway. That's what the Democrats, while drunk, naturally, and smuggling gang members from the southern border. That's what Democrats want. But President Trump, not only is he going down to Florida to bash some alligator brains in, but Mary Margaret Olahan on the Twitter, wonderful Mary Margaret Olahan on the Twitter, says some patriotic news. The B-2 pilots, that's the B-2 Spirit, the stealth bombers that flew out of Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri to drop bombs on the nuclear facilities of the Islamic Revolution in Iran. And the B-2 pilots who flew into Iran and bombed the Iranian nuclear programs will come to the White House. Really? Now, I predicted this a week ago. And I think I was the first person to hear anybody say it. I say, Trump is going to have, and then it becomes a little tricky because you have the refueling bombers, the fighter jet pilots, you just have the B-2 pilots, but it looks not right now like the B-2 pilots who flew the Iranian mission will be welcome to the White House when? Friday, July 4th. That's the 4th of July. That's our national holiday. It's our birthday. The Democrats, they don't like it. And not just Trump having the bomber pilots over. They'd put all Americans in jail if you really gave them total power, which is what they want. That's all they want is total power. But we have these remarkable things. And there is a poll out now that shows that Democrats have never been less proud to be Americans. And it's been a while since they were proud at all to be Americans. But now, according to the new poll, they're less proud than ever to be Americans because how does the old phrase go again, Michael? Oh, they're not on our side. See, that's it. And everybody should know that in America. The slogan of the Democrat Party should be, we're not on your side, because they're not on our side. And the Republicans should brand the Democrat Party as being a terrorist organization, just for one, with all the fire bombings and the killings and the gangs and all that. But never mind that. And the Republicans should brand them. The Democrats love brandings. They got a new branding thing in the Washington Post today that was pretty funny. My best girl was laughing out loud all morning, whipped out the yellow highlighter magic marker thing and highlighted some passages from the Washington Post story, and it's unintentionally funny, which happens a lot in the Washington Post. But the headline from the Gallup polling people, American pride slips to new low. And you won't be surprised to learn that it's all because of Democrats, because they're firebombing lunatics and they're not on the side of civilization. Sharp decline in American pride among Democrats and Gen Z. Gen Z, the Gallup poll finds, shockingly small portion of Democrats are proud to be American, poll shows. Another headline from my friend Bo Snerdley there, and just wonderful stuff. The Democrat Party, they're not on our side. I don't know how many times I have to demonstrate this, or maybe I should say they have to demonstrate this. And then there's Elon Musk. Elon Musk stirring up trouble once again. He's talking about creating a new political party to stop Trump's insane spending bill. He's new to politics, Elon Musk. He's very smart in many regards, but I'm not sure he can spell the word politics because he really doesn't get what's going on in this town, and that's understandable on some level. But as maybe the smartest man on the planet today, somebody should sit down with him and explain to him how things work on Capitol Hill, as awful as it is. But you create a new political party, and conservatives will never get a bill passed again for the foreseeable future, at least. But Elon Musk, on his own Twitter platform, which he likes to call S, if this insane spending bill passes, that the Senate's kicking around today with their Votorama or whatever cheesy name it's been given. Now, our country needs an alternative to the Democrat-Republican uniparty so that the people can actually have a voice. And if you think having a third major party in the United States would accomplish that, I think it would accomplish the opposite of that. I'd be happy to sit down with Elon Musk. I was working with a nice woman last night, a woman in her 20s, who said she had occasion, she's a journalist, to sit down with Elon Musk around a table for more than an hour and talk and just spitball and stuff. Said he was really great, really hilarious, charming, funny, told jokes the whole time. And then I said, but did he know anything about politics? And that's another thing. Speaking of knowing anything about politics, John Fetterman, of the Addams family and the Democrat Party, complains about missing family beach trip in order to vote on Trump bill. That's a left-wing headline there. Oh, my God, I just want to go home, is the quote from John Fetterman. Isn't that great? He just wants to go home. Yeah, a lot of people just want to go home. But you somehow, amazingly, were elected to the United States Senate, and the Senate's busy now. I guess I'd kind of like to be walking on the beach somewhere, too, right now. But I've got a job to do. And, this is what I do. I'm I'm telling you. Also, we'll update you as the news develops out of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where 2 firefighters were ambushed and assassinated. A third firefighter ambushed and shot and wounded by a lunatic. We still need to know more about him. We have that. We have the border czars speaking up because the Democrats are trying to arrange for ambushes of ICE agents, like these firefighters were ambushed in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, of all places. And Caroline Leavitt, very busy yesterday. Got a lot going on there. The Israeli prime minister, who the would-be communist mayor of New York says he will arrest if he comes to New York, is coming to Washington, D.C. next week to meet with President Trump. See if the Democrat mayor here wants to arrest him. And that mass murderer, also out of Idaho, that murdered the 4 college students, cuts a plea deal, not making everybody happy because looks like the death penalty is off the table, and that's too bad. We're at 888-630-9625. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. All right. We can go to a telephone call now, Michael. Let's talk to the nice people, the American people, on this 4th of July week when the Democrats are less patriotic than ever, and there's no way to tell the difference. All right, let's go to Chris, calling from Marshall, Virginia. Christopher, you are on the Chris Plant Show.
As always, sir, it's an honor. Thank you for taking my call. Listen, I think there's quite a bit of a misconception about this Alligator Alcatraz. They're talking about, how big the security is and the fence and all that and the razor wire. There's an airstrip. There are a couple of tents, and there's a very small knee-high wall around the thing. It's not to keep the inmates in. It's to keep the local wildlife out. If you want to escape, giddy up, big boy. Good luck. The other thing I wanted to mention about this, the environmentalist wackos were taking this opportunity to object about what damage they're doing to the Everglades. Meanwhile, they green light all that bureaucracy and ridiculousness about replacing the Key Bridge in Baltimore, and they green light all these wind farms offshore, which are horrible for the environment. And we saw what equated to the toenail of a dragon fall off of one of those trucks at Interstate 81 and Interstate 70 just yesterday morning. And the scale of these things is monstrosities. Yeah,
a giant blade from one of the Democrats' windmills on a highway. Yeah, and it's like the size of an airplane wing, and made by, I assume, by Chinese slave labor. The Democrats still love slavery, don't they? Yeah, I've got more on that coming up. Yeah, where's my Bono credential? That made me laugh for a day. And Donald Rumsfeld, who was that person? That strange man. Good question. Now, President Trump left the White House a short time ago by way of the South Lawn, where I didn't see the helicopter, but I assume that he boarded the Marine One helicopter and flew to Andrews Joint Base Andrews Air Force Base, to board Air Force One, to fly down to Florida to Alligator Alcatraz, and he's going to go down and club some alligator reptiles to death, maybe a giant python of some kind, because they're all loose there. And CNN, they had an expert on. He's a human rights expert. Is he a member of the Kennedy family, or maybe just an illegitimate child from Latin America somewhere of the Kennedy family? Because there's a lot of that. It's the Kennedy family, and they drink a lot and things happen. But that's not important now. President Trump leaving the White House a short time ago, and he was asked, I think it was Peter Doocy at the Fox News Channel, who asked him, hey, you headed down to Alligator Alcatraz, and what's up with that?
And with the Alligator Alcatraz, it's the idea that if some illegal immigrant escapes, they just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something?
That seems to be a perfectly good. Is that the idea? Because they, our first caller, Chris, who is familiar with Alligator, Alcatraz, the area there is, and I love I played a marginally humorous soundbite yesterday of some Native American woman who's saying, "Oh, my people, this airstrip is sacred to my people because we all have Gulfstream jets, and we need our airstrip here in the middle of the Everglades."
It is kind of like our duty to come out here and represent them. And the alligators are a sacred animal to the tribe out here. And that is why we come and we stand for them, so that way their natural environment stays wild for them.
Their natural environment is an airport. Right? There's a runway, a long concrete runway. I'm not sure, is Air Force One going to land right there? Because that's a 747. That requires a lot of runway. It's a big runway, and there's a taxiway, and there's a road going to it. And suddenly, after I assume the tribe has a Gulfstream jet somewhere made in Georgia, and a wonderful airplane. But now suddenly hey, there's an airport here in the middle of the Everglades. But now, because we're going to put some illegal aliens there while they are deported, it already has an airstrip. So airplanes can come in to load up the illegal alien criminal gang members that the Democrats want their daughters to marry, and they can be deported directly out of there. They're building big tent facilities. They're not like, canvas tents. They're big kind of aluminum frame and all screwed together, and they're huge, like the size you could play professional hockey inside one of these tents, and they're sturdy. And wait till you hear the human rights activists. But so what's up with the alligator thing? So they try to escape, and they're going to be eaten by dinosaurs? This is President Trump being asked by Peter Doocy.
This is not a nice business. I guess that's the concept. If snakes are fast, but alligators we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison, how to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%.
Go up about 1%. See, because everybody knows, and I'm trying to remember what the movie was. I think it was Alan Arkin and the In-Laws or something like that, and many, many years ago, where they're fleeing from alligators, and they teach where you can't say. And here's the thing: I learned this about alligators spending time in Florida, actually, that if an alligator is chasing you, alligator can run fast in a straight line, but they have short little dinosaur legs and claws and things and giant jaws with pointed teeth. But they can run, if you run straight away from them, they're probably going to catch you because they can run quite fast when they run in a straight line. So if you're being chased, and tuck this away, it might come in handy someday, and you'll thank me later on. You could be on a golf course in Florida or someplace, and a giant dinosaur can chase after you because environmentalists, oh, we love the environment. I'm sorry your children were dragged into a pond by a dinosaur. Very sad about that. But was it the In-Laws? Is it, do you have it right there? Do you?
Serpentine! What? Serpentine!
They're being chased by alligators, and they've got to run. Serpentine, because it's Peter Falk and Alan Arkin in a movie, and they're being chased by alligators. And he explains but they're thinking, well, these are serpents, right? But when an alligator is chasing you, could happen. Don't run in a straight line away from it because it can probably catch you and grab you by the ankles, and you don't want that because they got plans. All right? Tiny brains, but they have plans. And if an alligator is coming after you, you cut right and then do a circle around the alligator. And because they're little legs, they can't turn while they're running. So they have to stop and kind of plod their way into a 45-degree turn, and then they look around. And by that time, you're back at the car and everything's fine. But don't run in a straight line to get away from an alligator. That's what Trump's talking about. And I think he's talking about the movie The In-Laws with Alan Arkin and Peter Falk from a great many years ago. So be serpentine and run away. And you can run circles around an alligator, but don't run a straight line. And Trump decided to bring that up, which was pretty funny, I've got to say. And that's all he had to say, right? And then he Then he left. He got on the helicopter, and he flew to Andrews to get on Air Force One to fly to Alligator, Alcatraz. And he just gave a tip on running from alligators, should you find yourself in that situation. I'm telling you. All right, now, there's more because they've got a governor in Florida, Ron DeSantis, and he knows because he's from there. So he knows all about these things, doesn't he? And he's had to run from alligators before. I've had to not run from my best girl, and she got me into golf many years ago. I haven't played golf in a long time now, but we want to go back. We keep talking about it. And we were in Florida, and there was a 14-foot dinosaur on the golf course, and I hit my golf ball off the tee. It was, 360 yards. I just made that up. It wasn't that far. And it landed about 4 feet from this 14-foot alligator, and literally was 12 or 14 feet, the alligator. It was gigantic. And drove the cart up to it, and it was very close. And I took my wedge, which is your best weapon, right? It's if you're going to choose a golf club to defend yourself against an alligator, I think sand wedge, no more than a 9-iron, I think is going to be good for cranging them in the skull with the sharp edge end of it. It's the best weapon in your golf bag. It's not a wood. That's not a driver. Is not the best weapon. A wedge is definitely the best weapon. But in any case, I got out of the golf cart with my wedge and walked over to within just a few feet, and it was kind of alongside instead of right off his nose. And I was ready to use the sandwich, and then I chipped my golf ball out of there, and he didn't come after me. He knows he's on a golf course. He's a resort alligator. And I chipped him away, and we got back to the clubhouse. I said, what's with that 14-foot dinosaur you have there? And they said, old suitcase is out today. Old suitcase. They call him old suitcase. They told me old suitcase is out today. But I knew enough to, be serpentine if you got to run from the giant alligator, because it's good policy. So President Trump refreshed our memory on that. Now let's get back to soundbite number 11. This is the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. He's a Republican, and he's not on the side of the alligators when it comes to versus people. Democrats are on the side of the alligators versus people. They don't like people at all. And, their leader in the Senate is a scaly reptile lizard king. Everybody knows that. So here's Governor Ron DeSantis talking to the press about President Trump coming down to visit the Alligator Alcatraz.
When the president comes tomorrow, he's going to be able to see, you're going to be able to do. What'll happen is you bring people in there. They ain't going anywhere once they're there unless you want them to go somewhere, because good luck getting the civilization. So the security is amazing. But what...
Everybody's laughing.
Natural and otherwise.
Comedy. We're doing stand-up comedy about Alligator Alcatraz. And Trump's doing jokes, and Ron DeSantis doing jokes. Democrats are considering self-immolating, and they need to talk to a doctor, don't they, these guys? Ron DeSantis, he's looking forward to the visit today.
I did speak with the president this weekend. He's very excited about doing it. But I think what he wants to see is, Florida should not be the only one in this fight, right? I mean, we literally are doing what the voters who elected all of us have been demanding for many, many years. And immigration was maybe the number one issue, maybe inflation, but certainly no worse than the second most important issue in the 2024 presidential election.
And Florida is doing what the American voters, the American taxpayers want. The Democrats are just hating America, even in the Gallup poll. They're just not proud to be Americans. They are proud to be transgender, reptile-loving, anti-American, pro-radical Islamic jihadi, Communist Party voting, New York-based Democrats who are on the side of gangs from Venezuela and not schoolgirls from Minnesota, because the Democrats. This came up yesterday, and Ron DeSantis is right, doing what the American people want, and gain control of our country, of our border. Sovereignty matters. That'd be a good T-shirt too. Sovereignty matters. That's fun. So here's the wonderful Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. Caroline Leavitt asked about the facility, and tell us all about it, Caroline.
The facility is in the heart of the Everglades and will be informally known as Alligator Alcatraz. There is only one road leading in, and the only way out is a one-way flight. It is isolated and surrounded by dangerous wildlife and unforgiving terrain. The facility will have up to 5,000 beds to house, process, and deport criminal illegal aliens. Gosh,
5,000, and that's pretty good. Informally known as Alligator Alcatraz. Alcatraz, of course, being an island prison in San Francisco, which I think the Democrats now use for monkeypox parties, don't they? They have some kind of monkeypox scrum that goes on out there every night. 5,000, up to 5,000 beds, and the Democrats, they're very angry. They're very irate about this. They're not irate about illegal alien gang members marauding through the country, killing and raping and plundering. They're okay with that. But never mind that. And I like informally known as Alligator Alcatraz. We can make it more formal later, perhaps. It's a little bit of a Devil's Island thing, like the French prison and the Papillon and all that stuff, trying to escape. And it's not an island, but it's in the Everglades, which is pretty rough territory. And then they sell it this way with the gigantic, swamp around you with alligators and pythons. And, hey, they're 30-foot long. They'll eat you whole. And it's good public relations, if nothing else. Great stuff. So the people on MS-13 DNC, that's an NBC News product. They've got a reporter there named Ryan Chandler. He thought he was going to be a mystery novelist, Ryan Chandler, but he turned out to be an MS-13 fake reporter. And he was there at the protest with the Native Americans in Florida. You can't call yourself Native American. And they're protesting along the side of the road, but not in the middle of the road, because in Florida it's legal to run protesters over if they're in the middle of the road blocking you.
There's a long list of concerns here, from legal worries to environmental concerns. Just look at some of these signs. Stop DeSantis, not in my home, get out of my swamp. Tells you everything you need to know.
Get out of my slum? Oh, get out of my swamp. Get out of my swamp. Swamp. Sure. And they got signs. Yeah, I was looking at some of the signs there, the classic, ridiculous left-wing Democrat signs all over the place. Ryan Chandler, MS-13 DNC.
At the center of this argument is the Native people here, who really reject this premise that this is some barren wasteland filled with alligators and pythons. The Native people, part of the tribes that live here,
the what?
Have said that this is our sacred
Racist.
Ancestral homeland with a delicate ecological balance that could be disrupted with all of these trucks coming in, trying to truck thousands of people into this area.
I think it's racist to suggest that illegal aliens will be disruptive to the natural order of things. Isn't that true? Just amazing stuff. And but the alligators, they're sacred too. Yeah, and I love the signs. No clowns, no cults, no concentration camps. Might as well go protest at the county jail, you bunch of maroons. There are penitentiaries in Florida, too. You should go protest there. They're against prison. Just like, Mamdani, the communist in New York. I moved around some letters in Mamdani's name. You'll never guess what I found. That's I've got a new name for him now. The communist, jihadi, genocidal, Jew-hating, modern Nazi, Democrat, mayoral candidate for New York City. They still haven't finished counting the votes there and declared him to be the official winner yet? Because they are a third world country. Not New York. Democrats. You may or may not remember, 2 years ago, 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 2 years ago that in 2011, 14 years ago, then President Barack Hussein Obama was railing on about those darn Republicans that want to control our southern border. And what did Barack Obama suggest Republicans might do one day?
You know, they said we needed to triple the Border Patrol. Or now they're going to say we need to quadruple the Border Patrol. Or they'll want a higher fence. Maybe they'll need a moat. Maybe they want alligators in the moat. They'll never be satisfied.
It's not us who will never be satisfied. Once again, quite the opposite. But there's Obama in 2011, alligators in the moat. He's the man who saw the future. He's like Nostra sometimes. Let's go to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Charlie calling from DeLand, Florida. Charlie, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Mr. Plant, just like Rush Limbaugh said, I hope he fails. I'm right on the St. Johns River, and I'm in DeLand, Florida, and there are alligators around here like there are birds. We have alligators that are 15, 16 foot long, and down in South Florida, they also have monitor lizards, and they're about the size of a mid-sized dog, and they eat cats. They run about 40 miles an hour, and I was down there working in the Miami area, Boca Raton, and the lizards down there, when you look at them, they look prehistoric. When you were talking about the prehistoric animals, I instantly thought about the monitor lizards, and they are monstrous and evil looking. They have they look like Jurassic Park. They have foamy mouths. When they open their mouth up there, they're kind of terrifying. But,
yeah, they're the Nile. They're out of Africa, these monitor lizards in Florida, the Nile monitor lizards. And it's true, every story you pull up on them, Charlie says, they'll eat your cats. They'll eat don't let your cat wander around the neighborhood. The African Nile monitor lizards will eat your cats.
They're eating the cats.